Ron Castorina, Richmond County Republican. Good afternoon.
Michael Rendino, Bronx County Republican.
Simon Schumer, Kings Republican.
Frederick Humane, Manhattan Republican.
Michael Michelle, Queens Republican.
Alan Sokol, Manhattan Democrat.
Bianca Perez, Bronx Democrat. Maria Guastella, Richmond Democrat.
Senior staff?
Dawn Sandell, Deputy Executive Director.
Carol Perkins, Administrative Manager.
Nina M. Crispino, Director of Personnel.
Stephen Davenport, Counsel to the Committee.
Michael Ryan, Executive Director.
All right, I make a motion that we go into executive session for legal.
Second.
We'll be back.
Right,
During executive session, you ready? During executive session, the commissioners took the following action. Eddie Santiago has been granted a 420-hour discretionary advance of time. Her employment with the board began on September 17, 2000, and she holds the position of clerk. This discretionary advance of time is retroactive, effective November 9, 2014. In addition, the technical position assigned to the general office is being filled by Marilyn Velez at the incumbent pay of $88,081, commencing immediately. That concludes the executive committee meeting. Now we're going to come back to our regular scheduled meetings. Pursuant to the provisions of Title II of Article 9 of the New York State Election Law, specifically Sections 9-2-04, 9-210, and 9-212, I now call the meeting of the Board of Canvassers in the City of New York to order for the purposes of certifying the recanvass of votes cast on November 4th, 2014 in the general election conducted within the City of New York. I would now ask that each commissioner and staff member present identify him or herself for the record. Starting with my left.
Ron Castorina, Richmond County Republican.
Simon Schumer, Kings Republican.
Frederick Humane, Manhattan Republican.
Jose Rodriguez, Democrat.
Alan Sokol, Manhattan Democrat.
John Flateau, Kings County Democrat.
Maria Guastella, Richmond Democrat.
Executive staff.
Dawn Sandell, Deputy Executive Director.
Pam Perkins, Administrative Manager.
Anyone else?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Matt Graves, candidate record unit.
Nina M. Crispino, Director of Personnel.
Dana Fulton, council commissioner.
Stephen Davenport, Counsel to the Committee.
Raphael Senior, deputy general counsel, and Mr. Ryan.
All right, to serve as the other Democratic member of the canvassing board, I hereby designate Democratic Commissioner for the respective counties, and I would designate Commissioner Guastella to serve with me for the Queens County on any multi-county recaps. Danny, is Commissioner Michelle there?
And also for Queens County, because you need a second one.
Right, what is it? To serve with me for Queens County in any multi-county recaps. And for the record, we've been joined by Commissioner Rendino and Commissioner Michelle. I would ask that Secretary Michelle designate the Republican Commissioner for the respective counties and any other Republican Commissioner to serve with him for Queens County and any multi-county recaps. Who you designate?
Fred Human.
Okay. Is the Bronx here? Step up, please. This Commissioner Perez. Can you please put your appearance on the record, please?
Anthony Jerry Costello, Deputy Chief Clerk.
Marika Scott McFadden, Deputy Chief Clerk.
Let's just take a brief pause while we wait for Commissioner Perez to come back. Commissioner Perez. For the record, I'm joined by Commissioner Perez. All right, it's my understanding that the deputy chief clerks of the Bronx and their staff have prepared and signed the return of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in the Bronx County in accordance with the board's policies and procedures. I would ask that they present them to the canvassing board for their review and approval. All right, I will now ask for the record a series of questions with respect to the returns of canvass that have been presented by the Bronx staff. Do the Bronx deputy chief clerks confirm that the results presented are accurate and correct?
Yes.
All right. Are there any discrepancies to report to the board?
No.
Has the audit of voter verifiable audit records for both the poll site and the central count scanners required by section 9-211 of the New York State election law been successfully completed for these contests?
Yes.
Based on the report, I would entertain a motion that the Board of Canvassers certify the return of canvass submitted for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted by the Bronx County. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstain? The motion carries. The return of canvass prepared and submitted by the Bronx staff for the Board of Elections are adopted unanimously. Please thank your staff for the hard work that they've conducted on behalf of all the commissions.
Thank you.
Thank you, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Can I have Kings County's present? Can you put your appearance on the record for us, please?
Yeah, Betty Ann Canizio, Deputy Chief Clerk.
Sal Barrera, Administrative Associate.
Okay, it's my understanding that the representatives from the Brooklyn and their staff have prepared and signed the returns of canvass for November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in Kings County. I would ask that they present them to the canvassing board for review and approval. I will now ask for the record a series of questions with respect to the returns of canvass that have been presented by the Brooklyn staff. Do the Brooklyn chief clerk and deputy chief clerk, or the representatives here, confirm that the results presented are accurate and correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Are there any discrepancies to report to the board?
No.
Has the audit of voter verifiable audit records for both the poll site and the central count scanners required by section 9-211 of the New York State election law been successfully completed?
Yes.
Based on that report, I would entertain a motion that the Board of Canvassers certify the returns of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in Kings County.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstained? The motion carries. The return of canvass prepared and submitted by the Brooklyn staff of the Board of Elections are adopted unanimously. Please, on behalf of on behalf of the commissioners, please thank your staff for the hard work that they've done during this election cycle.
Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Is New York County here? It's my understanding that the chief clerk and acting deputy chief clerk of Manhattan and their staff have prepared and signed the return of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in New York County. I would ask that they present them to the canvassing board for review and approval. I will now ask for the record a series of questions with respect to the returns of canvass that have been presented by the Manhattan staff. Do the Manhattan chief clerk and acting deputy chief clerk confirm that the results presented are accurate and correct?
Yes.
Yes. Shall we state our appearances, sir?
I'm sorry, yes, please do.
Gregory Lehman, Chief Clerk.
Alvin Simmons, acting deputy chief clerk.
Thank you. Are there any discrepancies to report to the board?
No, sir.
Has the audit of voter verifiable audit records for both the poll site and central count scanners required by section 9-11 of the New York State election law been successfully completed?
Yes.
Based on that report, I will entertain a motion that the Board of Canvassers certify the return of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in New York County. Motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstained? The motion carries. The return of canvass prepared and submitted by the Manhattan staff and the Board of Elections are adopted unanimously. On behalf of the commissioners, please thank your staff for the hard work.
Thank you. Will do.
Is anyone here from Queens County? Please state your appearance for the record.
Bart Haggerty, Deputy Chief Clerk. Robert Pataki, Administrative Associate.
Thank you. It's my understanding that the Chief Clerk and Deputy Chief Clerk of Queens and their staff have prepared and signed a return of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in Queens County. I would ask that they present it to the canvassing board for review and approval. I will now ask for the record a series of questions with respect to the returns of canvass that have been presented by the Queens staff. Do the Queen's Chief Clerk and Deputy Chief Clerk or their associates here confirm that the results presented are accurate and correct?
Yes.
Are there any discrepancies to report to the board?
Yes, there's one.
Can you please report it?
There's a written report included with the documents that we've presented. It involves the 55th and 58th election districts of the 24th Assembly District. And the simple explanation is that the voters were given the wrong ballots in one ED. They were given ballots from an adjacent ED.
Does anyone have a question? There being none, has the audit of voter verifiable audit records for both the poll site and the central count scanners required by section 92-11 of the New York State election law been successfully completed?
Yes.
Based on that report, I will make a motion that the Board of Canvassers certify the return of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in Queens County. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstained? The motion carries. The return of canvass prepared and submitted by the Queens staff of the Board of Elections are adopted unanimously. On behalf of the Commissioners, please thank your staff for the hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is Richmond County present? Can you please put your appearance for the record?
Anthony Andrulli, Deputy Chief Clerk, Staten Island.
Lisa Sadie, Administrative Associate.
It's my understanding that the Chief Clerk and Deputy Chief Clerk of Richmond County and their staff have prepared and signed the return of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in Richmond County. I would ask that they present them to the canvassing board for review and approval. I will now ask for the record a series of questions with respect to the returns of canvass that have been presented by the Staten Island staff. Do the Staten Island Chief and Clerk and Deputy Chief Clerk confirm that the results presented are accurate and correct?
They are.
Yes.
Are there any discrepancies to report to the board?
None.
No.
Has the audit of voter verifiable audit records for both the poll site and the central count scanners required by section 9-11 of the New York State election law been successfully completed?
Yes, they have.
Yes.
Based on that report, I would entertain a motion that the Board of Canvassers certify the returns of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election conducted in Richmond County.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstain? The motion carries. The return of canvass prepared and submitted by the Staten Island staff for the Board of Elections are adopted unanimously. On behalf of the Commissioners, please thank your staff for the hard work.
Thank you.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to personally thank the
Chief and Deputy for their hard work in Richmond County, the crown jewel of the city. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve and adopt the recap statements and return of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election for those offices which cross county boundaries within the city of New York?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstain? Motion carries. The motion is adopted and the recap statements and returns of canvass for the November 4th, 2014 general election for those offices which cross county lines within the city of New York are approved. Is there a motion to authorize the use of Commissioner's signature stamps as appropriate on each statement and return of canvass?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstain? The motion is adopted. There being no further business to come before the Board of Canvassers in the City of New York, I would now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Board of Canvassers and to convene the weekly stated meeting of the Commissioners of the Elections in the City of New York. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstaining? The motion is carried. The Board of Canvassers stand adjourned. It's my understanding that there's a member of the public that wishes to address the Commissioners with respect to the certification. Please step up. Oh, sorry.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. My name is Harry Nass. I live in Manhattan and have lived in Manhattan for many years. Just as a little background, in October, Columbia University ran a program which they called Vote Week 2014. And along with a variety of panels, interviews, and lectures, the purpose was to provide an opportunity for people to register to vote, which makes a lot of sense. And I know they plan to do this in the following years too. I went to several of the lectures. I've always been interested in ultimately running for public office, and this inspired me a bit to do a little research on what past results were of various elections. And I came down to the think it's called the Candidates Record Unit, and got some information to look at some statistics. And I was given some materials which told me the results of the 2012 election. One thing I found quite interesting was the area for the write-in votes that occur in various elections. It's interesting in the fact that there are so few. In fact, in the particular office I looked at, the write-in votes constituted less than 1 per 1,000 of votes to the regular political party candidates. I decided that I would, in fact, try something to learn about the system, and created a kind of write-in effort of my own during the last couple of weeks before the election, and in fact got a variety of people to commit to me that they would write in my name, and in particular was for the office of Representative in Congress, Congressman in the House of Representatives. And I prepared some small materials, not extensive, but just to indicate to a person who would be voting what they had to do in terms of filling in the oval in the write-in column and then writing in my name, first and last name, which since the election I've been told by various people they in fact did that. I looked at the ballot very carefully, and I noticed something that seemed to be a defect in the printing of the ballot, which I think, and I'll show it to you, which I think in fact could throw off the count on the write-ins for the particular office of Representative in Congress. What's happened is, and if you want to see it, I have it. Yeah. For any votes, as you'll see, you have to fill in the oval so it can be scanned by the machine, and then in particular for a write-in, write in the person's name. Now, in the box for the write-in for the representative in Congress, it seems that that particular fill in the oval box is not aligned with the boxes, the fill in the ovals throughout the rest of the columns. And I think it may well be just out of an error that this occurring might lead the machine readers to not count the write-ins for that office, and therefore not come up with a number, and lead, however it works, to have those ballots looked at and the write-ins
Could we respond? Because
yeah.
While I would understand what you're saying, just based on the visual
Yes.
interpretation, all ballots have a series of dashes
Yes.
down either side and across the top. And although it's not on this copy, they also have them across the bottom. Those are called timing marks.
Okay.
That's how the machine readers read the vote,
Right.
based on an assigned coordinate
Registration. Yeah.
for that particular office. So that the ballots are built electronically by our staff, and it's set up within the computer to correspond with the appropriate timing marks. So even though on this particular one, in the representative for Congress, it seems like the previous ovals from the left to the right, before you get to the write-in, are in a different location. The assigned definition picks up the oval where it belongs. The reason that we have to play with that a little bit is to give enough room to actually write the person's name in. And it's always a bit of a juggling process. Now, so that you understand as well, in the event that there's an issue with those things, at the back end of the process, there is a software that, a change that was made to the system that allows us to filter out the write-ins, either by the oval or whether or not there's writing in the box.
Okay.
All right, so the computer at the back end, let's say, for example, despite your best efforts to inform the voters, somebody forgot to fill in the oval, but they filled it in the box, they wrote your name in.
Yes.
The system allows us to interpret voter intent, and clearly, writing somebody's name in demonstrates intent. So even though the vote may not have been picked up on election night because the oval didn't scan, right? You might actually pick up votes at the back end of the process when they review it through the write-in filtering process.
Now,
So that explains those two scenarios and our commitment to accuracy.
Okay. Now, I looked at the unofficial vote totals right after the election, and there is no indication for write-ins, which I can understand because you want to show each particular name. I have no idea the mechanics of the process. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Write-ins are tallied later.
Right.
Because you can't attribute it to anybody's name until the name is actually read.
Right.
Right, so the write-ins are attributed later.
Now, is this certified material that just came in, would that now list the write-ins?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me when that will be available for people to check?
They should be within 24 hours of this meeting. Now that we have certified results, they would typically be published to the website, and then you'd be able to go on and check it contest by contest.
Well, if that's the way it is, I am very happy, and I look forward to seeing my results.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion to adopt the minutes of November 18, 2014? Is there a second? All in favor? Anybody opposed or abstained? The motion carries. Michael Ryan.
Yes.
Who disappeared?
I'm just giving the gentleman down back his
Sure,
documentation.
thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, I'm going to take item 4B on the agenda first. We have received notification that the EAC, the ECA, the Election Commissioners Association, has set the dates for the winter conference. We have only preliminary information. We don't have agenda, what they plan on having on the agenda. However, we wanted to give the commissioners the notification that it's coming on January 12th through January 15th. As far in advance as we could, in case any commissioners, and typically some commissioners will come, but those are the dates. Once we have the agenda, we'll come back in terms of what staff we think should ultimately be going from here. But the way it's always been done in the past is that the commissioners will come at their own discretion, and then the staff that is accompanying the board staff that's going to go is typically left to the executive management to make that determination.
Is the city of New York making their presentations?
We have not received the agenda. We have not received any preliminary indication that they wish us to make a presentation. And prior to the summer conference, and even in advance of the agenda, they had asked us if we would be making any presentations, and we did make a presentation in the summer conference. I do not anticipate, because we just made a presentation in the summer, that they'd ask us to do something else in the winter, but we don't have a finalized agenda yet, so there's no way to know. 4A is we received an invitation to testify before the Election Law Commission, the Election Law Committee of the New York State Assembly. Now, typically, the commissioners will grant authority for executive management to testify at the committee. This case is on December the 12th. The thing that makes this one a little bit more interesting, and ultimately it would be up to the commissioners what they decide to do, is that this request for testimony is to testify with respect to a newly established enforcement council at the New York State Board of Elections. And without anything further, I don't know what role the City Board of Elections would have in discussing the policies, procedures, and implementation of an enforcement council at the State Board of Elections.
Yeah, I hate to agree with Mr. Ryan, but I would.
Did I replace Commissioner Sumas as the new person you hate to agree with?
But it seems to me that this is not something that we would really have any information on. But I would not want to sort of slight the Assemblyman Cusick and the Assembly Election Law Committee, because there are things that we do need to have them listen to us. But if there would be a way that you could diplomatically and politically indicate that we really have nothing to add while showing significant deference to the committee, I would recommend that the board try to do that.
What I would do, perhaps under those circumstances, is call Assemblymember Cusick and try to get beneath the surface of the request and see exactly what they're seeking to get from us, or what input they think that we could potentially have. I'm not seeing it, it's not jumping off the page at me, and then perhaps come back next week, since the hearing is not until December the 12th, but I did want to get it before the commissioners as soon as we got it, but the hearing's not until the 12th, and then maybe we can come back next week, and after I get further clarification, and bring it, at least the Assemblyman's position as to what he thinks we could offer, and then the commissioners can make a more informed decision at that point.
All right, it's a good idea, so we'll table that for next week. Mr. Flex?
Attention, Illinois. Alan Flax, New York County Democratic Committeeman, which is on the same level as Commissioner of Elections. My name is Alan Flax. Is this off?
No, it's very, you don't need to
And I want to say, not at the holiday time, but thank you all, present and past commissioners, for letting me speak, because it has occurred to me, it is apparent to me and a few others, that you just let me spout off for 2-3 minutes and ignore me, and that's your problem, because you have to remember, a nugget may appear at some time. I used to think I was at least your equals. No, some people say, no, you're their superior, with the exception of Fred Humane, I feel, who knows, and Mr. Flatow, Commissioner Flatow, who amazes me that he knows so much about politics, and he teaches political science, because every political scientist instructor I have known of, and who has run for public office, is always handily defeated. But I do like your knowledge of politics. And the Bronx person, I hope she's not the Clarence Thomas of this board, so silent. But here is something of note. Remember, I raised the issue of your contract with the label, for the ID label we have people put on here and elsewhere in your domain, and that the adhesive is lousy. The prior contract, the adhesive peeled off. And I mentioned the civil court one, which I didn't have, but I found it, and I just want to show it to you. This is the New York County Civil Court ID, and it stays on, but it can be peeled off. And over here, you see some red. After a day, it turns red, saying void, so you can't come back again and again without signing in. But you fold back something, and therefore you can grab it and pull it off. And I would like to know if this can go to your contract officer to see whether or not, when you get rid of the lousy adhesive one, and that contract is yours. But that's what that's what the public thinks. Pardon me?
You hand it up?
Yes. Will the bridge man take it up to the judge? But really, take a look at it. You may want to switch, and it's a good one.
Mr. Flax.
Facsimile, you can call me.
Lest you think that I don't listen to you from time to
No,
time.
you do.
I want you to know that I still have the
Piece of hair from the Commissioner
green
Costello.
pass that you gave me from the Adam Clayton Powell building in Upper Manhattan on my desk, as a constant reminder that I have to take a look at the visitor stickers that we give out. However, I've been informed by staff that we have quite a few left. And I was actually meeting with the folks at the front counter the other day, and I took several stickers and I put them onto my jacket and took them off my jacket. And I haven't encountered the excessive glue problem that you have said that we have, but I'm keeping it in mind so that when we do run out of visitor passes, perhaps we will take a look at using a different style.
May I briefly respond, Executive Director? It may be what you're wearing. If it's a worsted wool, it'll be fine. But don't try to put it on, let's say, cotton piqué, certainly not suede, certainly not corduroy, certainly not on Commissioner Costello's hair. And other fabric. But wool may be the exception. So take your most expensive corduroy shirt and see what it does to that. But sincerely, if you're putting it on your suit, and I always see you in a suit, if it's a worsted wool, that may be okay. But does also dress shirts, broadcloth, you get a little black adhesive left. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you very much. I think that concludes our meeting for today.
Will we adjourn till next Tuesday?
It's done.
Yes, a motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, everybody opposed or abstaining, motion carries.